Okay, we are going to look again at graphs and how to draw lines on graphs. And you're saying, well, I know how to draw lines. Yes, I'm sure you do. But we now want to have formulas. All right, so let's say that I have this first formula, and I'll do this one in pink for you. Let's say this first equation is y equals x plus 2. And I say to you, I would like you to draw this on our graph. All right, well, that seems like a pretty reasonable request of a math teacher. So how are we going to do that? Well, I'll tell you how we're going to do that. We're going to make what's called an XY chart. Now, some of this I'm going to do in my head. And I have a pretty easy equation so that you should be able to do it in your head too. If we had a more complicated equation, I just want to make sure that you understand we won't be using our heads. We will be pulling out a piece of paper, writing out the equation, solving it. It'll take 3 pages to solve one problem, and we will be happy about that. But this one is pretty easy. So if I tell you that x is 0, for instance, what is y going to equal? Well, if this is 0, then it will be 0 plus 2, which is 2. So y will equal 2. Does that make sense to you? I hope so. What if I said to you that x was 1? Then what would y equal? Well, if x is 1, then y is going to equal 3, right? Because it would be 1 plus 2 more. What if I told you that x was negative 2? Then what is y? Well, negative 2 plus 2 is 0, so in that case, y is 0. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my pink marker, which matches my pink equation, and I'm going to plot these points. Notice that I do not have fancy graph paper. I am not pulling out a ruler to measure everything properly. No, I am just kind of going with it. So you want to try to make your points evenly spaced. Okay, and then I'm counting by ones. If I were being fancy, I could count by 4.5, but I'm not. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this first pair is when x is 0, y is 2. That's my first pair, 0, 2. My second ordered pair is 1, 3. So when x is 1, y is 1, 2, 3. 3. And here we have when x is negative 2, 1, 2, y is 0. So basically our line goes like that. I have just plotted my first line. That is my y equals x plus 2 line. Isn't it nice looking? Yeah. Notice that the dots don't exactly line up as if they were perfect because I'm not using graph paper. But guess what? I don't need graph paper for this type of math. I can just kind of go with it. All right, let's take, I'll take black now, and I'm going to do one more equation for you. Let's say I'm going to do y equals 2x minus 1, and I say let's graph it. All right, let's graph it is code for let's draw an XY chart. Okay, so if x is 0, what is y? All right, 2 times 0 is 0, minus 1 is minus 1, so y is going to equal negative 1. Okay, what if x is 2? Then what does y equal? Well, if x is 2, it would be 2 times 2, which is 4, minus 1, which is 3. Does that make sense to you? If this is too much to do in your head, don't be ashamed and don't fake it. Get out a piece of paper and solve the equation. Now, I'm going to stop here. Why am I going to stop here? I'll tell you why. Because I know that this is a straight line. How do I know? I just know. All of the equations that I ask you to draw in this chapter are going to be straight lines. And there is a rule that says you only need 2 points to determine a line. So here, if I have x 0, y is -1, that's that point right there. Oh, I'm supposed to be using black. Oh, dear, I hope you're not all confused now because I made that dot blue. There we go, black. And then this is 2, 3. That's x is 2, 1, 2, and y is 3, 1, 2, 3. Now I take my little pencil, which I'm using as my straight edge, and I draw my line between those 2 points, and ta-da! That is equation number 2. So you only have to determine 2 points in order to be able to draw a line. You can determine more. You can pick whatever numbers you want for x and then figure out the ones from y. I did these in my head, but in real life, it would not be cheating. In fact, it would be encouraged for you to take another little piece of paper and write out your equations there. That way you're sure not to make a mistake. That is how you draw lines on your graphs.